Hello, everyone. Can everyone hear us okay? If you can just let us know in the chat to make sure that you can hear us. Awesome. Sounds good. Okay. Just 1 minute. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this talk on development of machine learning models to improve ESG scores and responsible investment decisions with Elham. My name is Faraz. I'm your MC and the co-organizer at TMLS. So just before we begin, a couple of housekeeping items. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the chat with the queue in front so we can collect them and address them after the talk. Please also update your profile if you haven't done so already. This will help you connect with your fellow attendees. And lastly, please visit the booths on the left to enter in some very exciting giveaways by our partner. I'm pleased to introduce our speaker, Elham, today. She is a postdoc researcher at the University of Montreal, working on the development of machine learning methods in sustainable finance. She's also a research and developmental scientist at Axionable. She specializes in algorithm development, machine learning, and optimization. She got her PhD in mathematics from Polytechnique Montreal in 2020. And before her PhD, she was the head of banking software development team in Iran. So welcome, Elham, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Faraz. So I start to make it fully screen. So hello, everyone. I'm delighted to be here. Thank you so much for you being here and listening to my talk. This is my postdoc research that I'm doing with the University of Montreal as a postdoctoral fellow in Elham as well. And as far as said, yeah, we're developing some machine learning methodology to improve ESG scores and also to make a better decision and responsible investment. And I've done this project with Professor Manuel Morales at University of Montreal and Elham from Elham. And we recently have Christopher Deep, who is a research intern, to help us in designing our website and also our web application. Sustainability within an investment context is about meeting present needs while considering long-term positive outcomes. ESG refers to three sets of factors: environmental, social, and governance. ESG investors examine criteria within these three categories to identify companies that perform well using ESG-related metrics. Combining the ESG lens with more traditional stock analysis techniques is known as ESG integration. Anyone can join the swelling ranks of ESG investors by simply learning more about ESG and then using the framework to make future investing decisions. Environmental, social, and governance refers to three central factors in measuring the sustainability and societal impact of an investment in a company or business. In other words, we apply investment strategies that consider ESG issues as part of the investment decision-making process. The COVID-19 pandemic has only strengthened the case for ESG investing. The resulting market turbulence produced further evidence that the stocks of companies with a strong performance and ESG issues are often less volatile. The pandemic also raised public awareness of and support for social issues that fall under the ESG purview, such as worker health and safety. In ESG rating, we are thinking long-term, like we are thinking about our education, our children's education, retirement, things that are 10, 20 years off. With sustainable investing, we're thinking about our hopes for the next generation and about what we want the world to look like. The objective of my research started first to develop a framework to automatically extract ESG information from companies' disclosure using natural language processing. The next objective was, still is, development of machine learning methodology to analyze ESG performance of projects, companies, or investment portfolios. We also want to create a model to understand interaction between financial or non-financial, which is ESG data. At the end, we want to incorporate ESG consideration into portfolio optimization using machine learning. The first step that we had done that is understanding like different pillars as E, S, and G, which is environmental, social, and governance. And then we found different type of themes for each factors, and then we made these kind of themes more specific and with more details. For example, in environmental, we found that, okay, one topic is climate change, but again, in climate change, there are different indicators or key issues that we can extract data and understand it better. So this is the whole topic about like ESG indicator or ESG pillars that we have found during the research. And then the next step for us to understand, okay, now I know what is ESG, but how I can get these data and how I can extract these data. There are many type of data. Some of them is related to ESG rating companies, but we were looking on public data. So this public data can be news, can be social media, media reports, but there are some other things that you can find many data. And these are the reports that companies are disclosing information themselves. So there are different type of disclosures. Some of them are mandatory and some of them are voluntary. So our goal in our research is just first considering disclosures to understand how we can extract information. So here you can see, for example, SASB reports, PRI report, GRI reports, or some annual reports or SEC filings. There are some corporate responsibility sustainability reports, TCFD, which is specifically on climate change, like CDP, which is Carbon Disclosure Project. Then we create a framework, and you can see here, and we call it AI or NLP-driven ESG analytics. So the first step for us is we didn't have any data. We know that is like publicly available, but we didn't have access like easily because any of these data were like in different places. We didn't have like all these disclosures or all these data centralized. So we started to do this task, and the goal is like having a center platform that have all the ESG data in one place. So we created like one component as downloader that we used some tools and some libraries in Python to write some scripts to download these disclosures and to access some news or some kind of this data automatically. So most of these disclosures are in PDF format. And the other challenge for us is to extracting the text automatically, and then we can do other machine learning and using LMP. So we created a reader component. And the other task is like cleaner. We have many kind of unstructured text inside reader. If you want, do we want all of them, or we want some clean data that there's no noise, there's nothing, and then we can apply some language modeling. We can apply further machine learning methodology on that. So we have done another task as cleaner, and then we did extractor. Extractor is using machine learning or NLP methodologies like name entity recognition, sentiment analysis, semantic similarity, summarization, word importance using TF-IDF, and topic modeling. These are the methodology we use to extract information related to ESG, and then at the end, we transfer all these information to some data that, for example, we can compare. We can compare this ESG data of one company to the other. We can compare this ESG data over 10 years for one company, and then we can compare it to other companies. So Then for us, it's just analyzing this ESG data, which helps for us to understand more, which is related to ESG scores. This is the fully automated ESG data collector for us that we developed. We have data collector bot that as an input, you give list of name of companies. We have some specific list of companies that we are interested in our research. So the input for this data collecting bot is name of companies, and the output can be the output is TCFD, ESG, CDP, or different type of disclosures. So in the first step, we identify data sources, and then we start. Okay, I identify these sources, and we start collecting using some script. But after that, downloading all of them, how we can understand like what are the type of disclosures, because there's no. We have seen that there's no title for this PDF. There's no proper name, and then we use machine learning methodology plus keyword filtering to understand the type of disclosures. Because as I said, some disclosures are specifically for climate change. Some disclosures can be about environmental reports. So this is in our research, we wanted to know that, okay, this type of disclosures are related to environmental, this type of disclosure related to climate change. So because of this, we should know the type of disclosures. And then we start putting all these data in a structured way, and we design a database to put all these disclosures in one place. And on top of that, we have a web application to search these disclosures. And here you can see that we chose BlackRock, and then we chose, okay, the time of this report is from 2020 to 2021. And then we can actually choose the report type. And then, so with that web application, it's easy for us to see and then choose our data set, specifically, for example, for one company. And then we do the analysis over a specific type of disclosures, or every specific company, or over a specific time frame. Here you can see, so that was the downloader. But for reader that we want to read the data, you see that how is unstructured. So people like at a company, they want to show, and then they want to do, to have creativity to show and then transfer data, but for machine is easy readable, that we know and then extract information easily. We put hard work to take and extract data as much as possible, and then transfer it to the structured data, because it's easy for us to understand and then analyze it. So you can see here that one page of one disclosures at the top list, that is for BlackRock. This is a TCFD report. And then at the bottom, you can see that we transfer it to a structured data. We understand, okay, travel is a title and is on page 28. And then we extract the whole paragraph. So when you look into that paragraph, you're telling yourself that is easy, but for a machine it's not easy. You have to tell that how to extract and then increase the accuracy. So this is not an easy task. And but we have done it. We spent a lot of time on it to extract and then to make it clean, this extraction. And for example, here title, this title helps us to understand the next paragraph. So because of this, we keep and understand what is the title for each paragraph to help us in analyzing these paragraphs. And then for the extraction part, that when we transfer it to some structured data, we can also search and then say that, okay, I want to apply name entity recognition on this paragraph. I want to know the sentiment of this sentence, which is positive or negative. And this is help us for further analysis in ESG. Now I'm talking about extractor. The first thing that we developed in extractor part is information retrieval. That means that, okay, I have all paragraphs, I have all text data, all the things, all tables, all data inside the one place. And now I want to search. And so then we started to create data algorithms to retrieve information based on some keywords. But we were looking for not checking the, for example, GHG emissions. We want to check and then retrieve information or retrieve sentences and text that is contextually similar to the keywords. And here you see that the outcome of this search, in the first sentence, you cannot see any GHG emissions, but you can see carbon, because carbon is semantically is similar to GHG emissions. And that helps us to retrieve more information, which is contextually related to those keywords. The thing that we have done is topic modeling. Topic modeling is understand the topic of sentences or paragraphs that is related to ESG. As you have seen that we have different ESG indicators, so we wanted to assign sentences and paragraphs inside those disclosures. So we started to build a novel algorithm which doesn't exist yet, but we're working on it, and then we will have a publication over this algorithm for topic modeling. This is unsupervised learning. We have checked some unsupervised learning algorithms because that didn't help us in our work. So we started to combine some information retrieval algorithms with summarization technique, and then we apply some k-means clustering on it. We check also, and this topic modeling is based on TF-IDF, and also we apply BERT language model on it to bring more, to have more accuracy in this for this task. And then we started to do analysis over annual reports of companies. And to detect sentences related to environmental pillar, you can see here that we understood and then tag sentences related to a topic. This is environmental pillars. And then we know that, okay, this sentence is related to that pillar. And here you can see social pillar. And so we retrieved sentences. We found some sentences that is related to social pillar using that algorithm. So this algorithm, we are still working on it. So it's not completed yet. We need to do some improvement. And then at the end, governance pillar. So sentences related to the topic of governance. And then we do this analysis over 10 years of annual reports of companies, like big companies like Microsoft, NVIDIA, Oracle, and Tesla. And then we do this analysis over some sections that we know that there are information related to ESG. So we have found, for example, in Tesla, we have found a 13%, which is higher than the other companies. So because it's obvious that Tesla discloses more information, which is more related to environmental aspect. And then we have found Oracle is talk more about governance, but as you know that Oracle has a lower score in governance pillar and governance score. So, but we found many sentences compared to the other companies. And here you can see some graphs that show that, okay, Oracle, the governance is higher actually to the other companies. The other task was related to sentiment of sentences. We have tried different algorithms and models, and then we found that Finbird for us is like has a higher accuracy to detect the positiveness and negativeness or neutral of sentences. So you can tell that, okay, because sentiment is always related to the positiveness of reviews, but we wanted to know if some the sentence in the disclosure is if it's related to ESG score or like it is related to environmental aspect, if this is positive or negative or neutral. And then we do this analysis on the same corpus and the same annual reports of companies for Tesla, Oracle, NVIDIA, and Microsoft. And then at the right side, you can see that little by little, the negativeness of sentences for Tesla is going down. And then they had no sentences in 2020 for Tesla compared to the other years. Now you can see we used different algorithms or models to, we use BERT, Finbird, NLTK, NLP. To detect the entity inside. For example, if I want to have more information, more information to those topics, if there are 30%, or I want to know the year, which is like I can say that this sentence is forward-looking or not. So we use name entity recognition to capture that. The other analysis we have done, we wanted to know that if we can extract sentences related to physical risk or transition risk of companies, which mostly are disclosed inside TCFD or CDP, or maybe there are in other, but these reports are specific to disclosed information in those topics. And then we have found like a very reasonable sentences that is related to physical risk, because they're talking about wildfires, flooding, climate change, loss of ecosystem or resource shortage, or transition risk. You see that like the first sentence is transition to a low carbon economy. They want to know that the legal exposure, increased pricing of greenhouse gas emission due to regulations. And then these are the top words inside those topics. So in physical risk, you can see that water is like for extreme, severe. These are the words that are repeated many times inside physical, in compared to transition, that we have found price, economy, or some policy that repeated more frequently. And at the bottom, you can see the top 20 words, that is bigram, so it's 2 words: low carbon, carbon price, carbon economy, climate change. So these are the words that's repeated in a high frequency inside those 2 topics. So the next step for us, first we want to improve that sentence labeling algorithms, that we want to label sentence or paragraphs. We're working on both, that label sentences to, and then tag it to different ESG topics. We want to still improve ESG sentiments, and this ESG is related to each topic. So for each topic in ESG, we want to know that if the sentences are positive and negative. We want to detect entity, sentiment, topic of sentences as paragraphs for the whole disclosures, and then put it in one place. and make it an in-house our web application which will be more useful for you to use it. And so if you're interested to know more and then you want to have access to our web application to know more about our data sets, about our analysis, because we want to put it in one place and then make it accessible. So please let me know if you're interested in knowing more about our web application. And thank you so much. And please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you so much, Elham, for a great presentation. We do have some questions in the chat that I'll just read through. Anirudh asks, are these reports all publicly available for us to analyze?
That's a good question. It's publicly available because this is the way that we found it, but it's not centralized. You know, the way that I showed that we put it in one place and then we can search it, choose one company, choose the time frame and choose type of reports. And then you can see, okay, I want to have only those reports for my analysis, for further analysis, to compare, to have more idea. It's publicly available, but the challenge is that is not centralized, but we have a database. If anyone is interested to have access to the database, because it's centralized, you can have a query on database, you can extract a text, you can extract everything related to those disclosures.
Absolutely. Yeah, so what we can do is we can share that link to the repository after the summit for sure.
Yeah, and they can also add me on LinkedIn and then ask questions and if for further conversation on that.
Sounds great. So Amir is curious if you have noticed any bias when companies disclose ESG themselves and their actions are different than what they claim in the report. And if you do see those biases, how do you mitigate this issue?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. This is something that we have in our mind to do this analysis. We now focus on disclosures, and then if we add more information from Twitters, from news, or from other things, and then we can do this comparison to say what is the state of some topics inside disclosures, and then how is different from news or other topics, other data sources. And that is something that we hope to do it, and I think we will do it, but now we're focusing on disclosures. But when we add more, it's easily just, we can compare it. And for us, it's just reporting those kind of bias to see and do this analysis over type of companies and in some time frame that we can say that, for example, these kind of companies, we can see there is a bias, but for those type of companies or in this industry, in this sector, we didn't find that much bias, because for us it's more about research. It cannot say and show one company, but we can do this analysis over different various type of disclosures and then compare it and then report it as a general view.
Mm-hmm. Sounds great. We do have about 3 to 4 questions. Are you good on time to answer them?
I didn't get.
We do have about 4 to 5 questions. Are you good on time to just?
Yeah, for sure.
Sounds good. Anirudh asks, how did you map these sentences to the common theme called social pillars?
We use that unsupervised algorithm, which starts with some keywords, but these keywords cannot, if you are not sure about those kind of keywords, we train some language models because we have those disclosures in our hand, like many disclosures. So we train our language models on all of these disclosures. So if you put like a couple of topics related, some kind of keywords actually, if you have some keywords, and then because it's trained on many disclosures, we can find many keywords based on that. And then, it's a little bit complicated, but we use actually summarization techniques to understand how these words is important, and we use our sentences are important to that topic. And also we use some clustering. So this is the methodology that we developed. This is a new method that you start with some keywords, but you can annotate sentences based on that keywords.
Mm-hmm. That's great. So how do you handle on a very specific word? Also, which kind of distance measures are you using for optimum results?
So the first question is about bias on words.
If you have bias due to some specific words, how do you use them, and which distance measures are you using for optimum results?
This type of algorithm that we tag is learned from like many disclosures, and also we apply some existing language models, which is trained on many type of words. So it's not specific on that has a bias. We also include those language models that is trained, for example, on Wikipedia, on books. So we have a general view of type of words and the similarity of words, and then contextually similar. And also we add our corpus related to ESG to help to understand the similarity between words. Because of this, I don't think there's a bias, because we combine all together. And the next question, that in some cases we apply cosine similarity to understand the compute distance, and also we apply ANOI. ANOI is like a very fast tools that helped us to find the minimum distance between some vectors of sentences or words.
Sounds great. There's a question from E asking, what is the rough coverage of the listed companies, say in the New York, say in the New York Stock Exchange or the SES, that can be analyzed given a score?
I'm not sure if I understood the question.
Yeah, so Yi, if you want to clarify, are you asking how many companies are listed? Okay, so while we wait for Yi, there's another question from Lalit. He's not sure if he fully understands the slides regarding physical risk and the transition risk. So what is the objective? What are your risk scoring the companies based on the appearance of terms, or are you using something else?
Okay, we want to know that how companies are disclosing information to physical risk and transition risk. Based on each company, based on the sector and this industry, those physical risks and transition risks are material for them. So our analysis was something to understand if these companies that needs to disclose information related to physical risk, which is material for that sector and material for that industry, if they disclose any information, and if they disclose how they disclose it. So for us, it first to detect sentences, so have a model first to detect sentences or paragraphs that mention something related to physical risk, and then the next step to do more analysis on that to have a better idea for that company is understanding more related for each topic, for example, physical risk and transition risk, and is more about materiality of those risks for specific companies based on sectors and also industries.
Sounds great. We don't have any more questions, but I was wondering if you wanted to share your contact information for LinkedIn, plus also the link to the web app as well in the chat. Yeah.
Our web app is not yet publicly available. We put it in our now is like private for us. But if anyone interested, I can show a demo and I can make it accessible for them. Yeah, and then so my name is, I think you have it, is in the first slide. Elham Kheradmand. This is my name that they can find it on LinkedIn.
Sounds great. We do have one question if you have some time.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. So Amar asks, how many companies provide these disclosures on their website? So roughly in percentage in the S&P 500.
Good question. The one report, which is called SEC filing, I think you know that is annual report, is available in SEC website. So, and then you can search. But these disclosures, yes, not all companies, especially this S&P 500, will look for it. And then some of them, in their website, they have a special place that they put all disclosure related to ESG that is easily accessible, but not for all of them. And then it's a little bit, not a little bit, it's actually very challenging for us to search and gather those information in one place. So we looked for different kind of data sources that we thought this is a place that we can get information. And but we tried to have as many as disclosures. To download as many as disclosures possible. Any information, any place that we thought, okay, there is some disclosures over there. We wrote some scripts to do this automatically to download it. And the other thing that we developed in our development, we consider new disclosures. So we have some list in our database, and we check every day if there is a new disclosures is published. So we check with that list if there is a new, and then we understand, okay, this disclosure is published, and then we add it to database because we want to have updated database. And then for us, it was very important to do all of this fully automated, to not do this something manually, because GRI has this database, but is manually and is not updated. You cannot find all disclosures. You can find some kind of disclosures. But for us, because we want to do some research over these disclosures to understand the topic and then how disclose it. If our data is not complete, so we cannot rely on our research and analysis. So that was the reason that we looked for many disclosures to find many as many as possible, and then put it in our database.
Absolutely. Thanks, David, for the link for our LinkedIn link. I know we're coming up on time. Just one final question then. This is a question from Elsie. How different is algo approach from one from the one of ESG data providers, say Ravenpack, for example?
I don't know about the Ravenpack, what kind of algorithms they put. But for us, we want to bring insight. We don't want to compute the score. But they said that ESG data provider, I don't know about Ravenpack to help you. But I will check it. And then in LinkedIn, if you add me, so we can have a conversation over that. But I don't know about Ravenpack. But for us, is not related to ESG score. If that ESG data provider is related to a score, for us, we want to not having all disclosures in one place. We want to bring insight using machine learning to bring insight to first is easy accessible. And then, for example, if you're interested in one specific topic in ESG, for example, climate change, you can just choose climate change in our web application, and then you can see all analysis related to that topic, the sentiment, like how many sentences. You can retrieve sentences inside disclosures, not for one disclosures. You can choose many disclosures for one company. In one place, you can have an insight, and then over in that insight, you can judge yourself that how this company is worth that I added in my portfolio or not.
That sounds great. Thank you so much. This has been a very fascinating and interesting talk, and thank you everyone for asking all the questions.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
I wish I could see all audience and then interact with them in person, but maybe in the future that we can see each other.
Absolutely. We would love to have you back on when we do meet in a physical setting for sure.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you so much, Faraz.
Thank you, everyone. Just a reminder that the video is recorded. We will be sharing the video after the summit. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.